Morning, everyone, and this is Marija and this is my oral presentation for NUR1102 Assessment 3. The purpose of this presentation is to deliver information about the development of my nursing communication. And the prospective audience are the fellow nursing students. So let's begin with the thesis statement. NUR 1102 introduces self awareness as an effective communication skill through cultural safety, which is significant in the development of my nursing career. Then I would discuss further the four concepts associated with this statement, namely self awareness, cultural safety, active listening, and empathy. This presentation would include insightful and practical and specific examples of my practice as an AIN to demonstrate the application of the development of my communication. In addition, specific strategies would be added as well to evaluate and enhance my communication in the future as a registered nurse. Now let's start with the self awareness. Honestly, I did not know what self awareness means before I took this course. This is why I chose this topic, since it is the most striking idea that I've learned throughout this subject. Self awareness, according to Vago and Silberswag 2012, is the ability to effectively modulate one's behavior or the self regulation and a positive relationship between self and other that transcends self-focused needs and increases pro-social characteristics or the self-transcendence. Self-awareness taught me not just to be a better AIN, but to be a better person by understanding myself first and be aware of what I'm saying and thinking. This makes a lot of difference when communicating with other people. And nurses need to be aware of their own values, beliefs, and attitudes and how this may impact on communication with patients and families because it can create barriers of communication such as assumptions and stereotyping. Practical example to develop my self-awareness is to meditate. I just close my eyes, sit in a silent corner, and pause. In this way, I can better know what I'm doing and make plan ahead on what am I going to do and what am I going to say. And my strategy is to ask someone close to me for feedback or evaluation about my personality, habits, and communication and values. In this way, I can use the feedback to develop my self awareness. Self awareness is associated with cultural safety. According to BEST 2014, there are five principles. The first one is to reflect on your practice. This is a critical analysis of your actions and behaviors. The second one is to seek to minimize power differentials. In order to achieve this, nurses should determine and understand the patient's preferences and needs. Number three is engage in communication. True engagement to the patient leads to the understanding of their needs and preferences. And the fourth one is undertake a process of decolonization. Nurses must undergo this process in order for indigenous people or the aboriginals pain are heard and recognized so that they can improve their health and well-being. Fifth is to ensure that nurses must not diminish or demean anyone through communication and action. An example of which is
Miss Mira. I am Marija and I am your nurse for today. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. Well, that's good. I'm just letting you know that the kitchen is serving these patties for lunch. And according to the record, you are a Buddhist. And I know that you don't eat beef. Am I correct?
Yes, my religion doesn't let me eat beef.
Oh, that's what I thought. How about I will tell the kitchen staff to organize a new meal for you?
Yes, please. And I would appreciate it if you would tell them that I do not eat beef and I would like veggie bowl instead.
Sure, I will let them know.
Thank you for understanding my religion and my culture.
And my strategy in mind is we need to make a little bit of research about different culture every now and then so that we can have an idea how to communicate other people. You cannot be self-aware and cultural safe if you don't listen. Active listening is a key to effective communication. It is like more than understanding of what other people says. According to Ivy and Ivy 27, there are three V's and one B in active listening, namely the visual contact or eye to eye, and vocal qualities, which is the tone of the voice and the rate of the speech, the verbal tracking, which means to stay with someone's line of discussion and not abruptly changing the topic, and B, the body language, which is the hand gestures, body postures, and perception of personal space. Active listening includes micro skills such as encouraging, paraphrasing, clarifying, feedback, listening with awareness, and listening with empathy. This is the example of active listening.
There are several things you can do to become an active listener. First, you need to pay attention. We know this is a bit obvious, but it's the most important part of active listening. For instance, make eye contact with the person talking to you. Ignore outside factors like other conversations so that you can focus solely on what the person is saying. Most importantly, put your own thoughts on hold. Resist the urge to start planning out what you're going to say in return. You also need to show the other person that you're listening to them. You can nod your head, smile, and say yes occasionally. All of these signals let the other person know you're still with them. Providing feedback on what the other person has just said is another important part of active listening. For instance, all of us hear information through our own personal filters and judgments. This can affect our understanding. To make sure you heard and understood the message correctly, paraphrase it or repeat it back to the person. You can also ask questions to get more information, but make sure that you listen to what they're saying before you plan your response.
And the strategy is choose an environment that is comfortable for good communication, that has no noise and clutter. According to Kiernan 2015, empathy is trying to understand the other people's perspective. And if you see other people's position, it helps to create more meaningful conversation, which could result in more creative problem solving. The initial stages is to understand the problem. You need to focus, listen carefully, and provide encouraging verbal and nonverbal responses that shows friendliness and trust, and it shows also interest and genuine concern. My example is
Why are you so sad, Aaliyah?
Because I feel really useless right now. I can't go out and play tennis with my friends.
Oh, I understand. Your injury keeps you away from playing tennis and be with your friends, but you need some rest to recover soon enough to be with them.
But I miss playing though.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I've been there before. When I had my accident, it keeps me away from my friends and doing what I want. Would you like me to tell your parents to organize your friends to visit here?
That would be great. Thank you for listening to me and understanding me.
Oh, no worries at all. Have a good rest.
and the strategies are the journal and have some reflection so that you can develop your empathetic response. And that's all for today. And thank you for listening my presentation.